I don't think I did this last time. I'll just give everyone a look at the map here. So you can see the Nords there in blue, and I'm oriented like this. Yeah, you can see in the left here there's a compass, so this is north. The Nords have this sort of northern coastal area, and the snowy area, these are the Vaegir. And then down here in the orange, they take up the central area. Those are the Swadians, who have particularly heavy knights. I think by far they've got the best cavalry in the game. These are the Rodok in the mountains, and they don't have any cavalry at all actually, but they have good crossbowmen and good infantry. These are the, if I can get it up here, the Kurgit Khanate in, I guess that's sort of lilac. And these are the steppes. So they're a bit mountainous, a bit hilly, a bit steppy. Now they have essentially all cavalry. Their mounted archers and lancers are their sort of heavy cavalry unit. But they're the only army type with a dedicated mounted archer. And down here in the south in the desert are the Saranid Sultanates. They have pretty mixed. They also get a pretty heavy cavalry unit, but I'd say I don't really know what their strong suit is. I'd say they just got a good mix across the board. And Nords, don't think we have cavalry, don't have good archers, but our infantry are just out of this world. My plans in the cities, let's see, I think, okay, so no, there isn't a tournament on here, but you can do tournaments and you can bet money on yourself, and if you win, you make a lot of money back. That's probably what I'm going to be doing at the beginning of the game. I'll be going around collecting a few troops because I want enough that I can protect myself from bandits, but I'm going to be traveling from city to city, basically just hitting up the tournaments, betting all my money and hoping I win. And if I don't, then, well, I'll have to make money some other way so that I can try again, but that's pretty much the plan, is to make a bit of cash, and then you can actually buy businesses that will earn you money over time. So that way, if you see on the bottom here, I generally don't click on these, I'll just use hotkeys on the keyboard, but in reports you can get a lot of information in the weekly budget. So this week I'm going to pay my troops 45 dinars. I want to get it so that I have my businesses giving me a surplus of cash, so I don't really have to worry about it, because like I said, I've also got to feed them and go to the marketplace here. That's not always cheap. You get honey for 248. Over here you'll see in the blue it gives my party morale. With a small group that's not really important, but as you get a lot more troops and if you fight less or lose fights, you lose morale and troops can actually desert your party. But this dried meat should last me for a while, and I can always sell my furs to make some cash that I will then bet on stuff. We can see a bunch of different food types. You can go for grain if you want something cheap. So I'm going to go to the arena and talk to the tournament master. There's so much reading that is not important. So he's talking about the melee fights. And what that is, which I'm not going to do it right now, but I will actually see. No, I don't think there is one going on, but this is the arena. And a melee fight is that, oh, apparently, I think, yep, there's a guy down there. It's like the tournaments, except instead of having rounds, it has, I think 30 to 50 people, and you just keep fighting until you're the last man standing. Or last woman standing, in my character's case. But it doesn't give a lot of money. So yeah, I don't really ever do it. But the tournaments, there'll be one at Tyr, Jelkala, Kudan, Nara, and Barry. Yeah, I'm just going to call that Barry. So Tyr, I know that is just to the west here. I always get my east and west mixed up. So that's where I'm going to head first off. And hopefully I'll make it big in the tournament. Or I will bet all of my money and be lying in the dirt unconscious and poor. Hopefully that's not what happens. So I'm at tier. I'm actually gonna just see how much I can sell this fur for 355. I'm gonna sell one of them, and you'll see now the next sells for 328 because there's a really big economy underlying in this game, and now that they've got more supply, demand goes down, so it costs a bit less. But one way to make money, without betting your money on how well you can fight, you can actually buy trade goods that you can get for cheap in some cities and then transport them across the map and sell them. But I don't really want to do that. I would rather just hit up a tournament, because hopefully I win, and if I bet as much as I can, you actually make about 4,000 dinars. So that'll put me off to a good start. The best business in the game costs 10,000, so I might start with something a little smaller than that, or I'm just gonna get a few tournaments under my belt, hopefully victoriously under my belt. I can place a bet, and it's 100 dinars max per round. You can see the odds are 13 to 1 with me, so for this round, you only win your bets if you win the entire tournament. You bet round to round, but it's over the whole tournament that you actually have to win. So if I win this round, I've essentially got 1,300 in the bank if I win. And you can view the participants, and you just got hired blades, champion fighters, and it just sort of fills out the roster with a bunch of troops of different difficulties. And then you've got Zarina and Dranton, and I think there's another one, but these are essentially gladiators. These are heroes that will only ever appear in tournaments. And you got me. And you can even get kings and lords fighting in tournaments as well. So this one has 2 gladiators. Hopefully it goes well. I've got a sword and a shield. Oh, an axe. I like that. But there are 4 teams at most, and the rounds change how many people fight. Like sometimes you'll get a round where you got 4 teams of 6 and it's a big brawl. This is just 4 teams of 2. So you can see it's in the different colored jerseys. And the teams, the weapons, even the team colors, not that it matters, are completely randomized every round. But they're usually based on sort of the city they're in. They're based on the culture of that city, so you can kind of look at the troop types to see. Like in Swadia, the knight, I call them the knight faction. You get a lot of mounted combat, and I think in their capital, you only joust. So I'm going to bet another 100, and that'll put another 1,000 in the bank. So this fight is a 4-on-4. I've got a shield and axe again, but they've got a couple archers. I'm not too worried about the archers, because honestly, they're all training arrows. Not too worried about getting hit by a blunt arrow, though I don't have my beanie. Yeah, that was pretty easy. We've still got 3 of our team. Place another bet. Ooh, so I've got an archer against 2 shields. Oh yeah, I really blocked that one well. And as you use weapons and level up, oh, I forgot to level up actually. You can increase your weapon skills. You see in the yellow writing there, that's actually what just happened, just from me using the one-handed weapon. Oh, so my shield just broke. And, whew, sorry, I got a little tense there. Fun thing about tournaments, even if you get knocked out, if you've performed well in, I don't know if it's that specific round or even over the whole tournament, you can get knocked out and let through to the next round. So you'll even see if I knock people out, I might see them in a later round. But weapon skills, you can level them up. And when you do, you will hit harder with those weapons, but you'll also hit faster, which is very useful for when you're in a close fight like that. If you can block and then get an attack out quicker than your opponent, very useful, especially in tournaments. Because in the real world, I'm not exactly worried about losing my bets. I could lose a whole army and a bunch of my armor if I get captured, but I mean, if I have the money, I can buy that back, although they take your money if they capture you. So maybe I should worry about it a little more in the real world fights. I got a 2-handed sword, so I can still block, and I got the reach. There's 1 round left, so I think or tier 6, but there's 6 rounds in every tournament, and I'm up against Dranton, so it's one of the gladiators, and you can only bet on yourself. I've got a bow and arrow. Oh, so does he though. And I, being a poacher, I'll just go into first person. That's how I prefer to shoot my arrows. I'm a poacher, so you'd think I'd be a good shot. Okay, maybe I wasn't a very good poacher. There we go, leveling up my archery a little bit. You see the radical there is pretty big. He's actually coming closer, he's getting fed up with this. Oh, bloody hell. We knocked each other out. What does that mean? Oh, and I've been eliminated, have I? So, I've lost the tournament, and I have 93 dinars left to my name. Got all the way through, so that was 600 that I just lost. Well, now I've got to make that back. And I've got to feed and pay an army. But one fun thing about this game is that you can actually sort of become a bandit. I'll just pause and show you this. These are caravans, and like the merchant was saying about that guard captain, there are caravans that exist, and you can go and raid them. It will make the faction who owns them angry at you, and they'll even attack you. But you can raid them, steal from them, or just demand payment from them if you don't want to fight. So I might be turning to that faster than I had expected. And I'm not going to raid Nord caravans, because I want them to like me. I want to use Nord troops, so I don't want Nord lords. It's a fun rhyme. I don't want Nord lords hunting me down in these lands. That'll make it a little bit difficult to recruit people. But what I'm doing now is I don't really have a strong enough army to fight a caravan, I don't think. Whereas they're mostly made of cavalry. They're not particularly strong, but on foot, cavalry will still trample you. Now, what I can do is speak to lords and ask for quests, but because I'm female and I carry weapons, a lot of them will have a pretty crappy attitude to me, and I can even get into fights with them. I think the fight part is contingent on me insulting them, but I'll say I might not be able to help myself if they're being jerks. Yeah, I'll sell that. I can see here that trade goods are at the top. They don't have any furs, so I'm probably getting a decent price for that. I'm not going through my food too quickly, but I'm going to get a little bit of grain to stock up. And when you've got different types of food, they'll eat them at the same time so that everything will go down a little more slowly. They won't just eat in order, eat through all the meat, then go on to the grain. You get a bit of meat and a handful of grain. Not exactly the best rations. It is night, so the arena is actually closed. So I'm going to look for looters. So like I said, when you win battles on the map, you sell the loot for a little bit of cash. So if I can do that, looters, they are really just the utter scrub of Mount and Blade. They are not worth much XP or money, but right now I am also a scrub of Mount and Blade. So they might be enough to pay my troops a little bit, and my troops need the XP. I should level myself up. Should have done that before the tournament. Maybe I wouldn't have gotten knocked out. I'm a little salty that we both got knocked out. And I did get knocked out first, but I mean, could split the winnings. Haven't really thought of what I want to put my points into. I want to put a lot into strength, because you need strength to equip more powerful weapons and to level up power draw. And that's what you use for bows, and I like bows, so I want to use them. Actually, although I'm not going to do that, I'm going to get charisma, because leadership, for every point I have in leadership, it increases the max amount of troops I can command by 5, increases my morale and reduces how much I have to pay my troops by 5%. So I'm going to be a cheapskate on them. And in my weapon skills, see, I'm using a two-handed weapon right now and a bow, and I'll probably be using a one-handed weapon a fair bit, so I'm actually going to put points into things like crossbows, polearms, and throwing, just because I don't think I'll be using them that much, and if I get given those weapons in a tournament, I want to be able to use them, so I don't get knocked on my ass right at the last point. There's one looter. So like I showed you before with the percentages near their names, you can see here that it says looter 1 out of 3. That means 2 of them are wounded and unable to fight. So this guy who might not have pants is the only one able to fight. If I stand still here, once my troops also stand still, they will line up and face the direction of the enemies. So you can see he's in the river there. I think I will let my troops kill him, just so they get some. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take him out. If I'm fighting tournaments, I need to worry about myself, not my army. I just missed him. Oh, he's a pebble thrower. It'd be a little safer to use my bow, but it's one looter who put some clothes on for the fight at least. And my archery is pretty high already, so I'm not too worried about leveling that up. I've got other skills I should pay attention to first. So I'm going to run around for a bit, and hopefully run into looters. Oh, there's forest bandits. We're the same speed as them, so if you're the same speed, eventually you'll catch up to them. When you're chasing someone, the pathing is just a little bit better, so every time they turn, you'll make a little ground on them. But hopefully, oh, there we go, I paid my troops 44 instead of 45. 5% doesn't do much when you don't have much to take from. There we go. Finally caught them. So these guys are tougher than looters, and they generally have archers. So you can see we're already taking shots. Using these trees as cover. See, my infantry, they're not, well, they're obviously not as fast as me on a horse, but I'm going to get them pretty close out and get shot. Now I'm going to let them go in first and kind of distract the archers. Oh, that was big miss. There we go. That was a good hit. Yes, his stick blocked my axe. Oh, so you can see in the battle log, I just had one of my guys die. If it's green, it means an enemy has gone down. If it's yellow, an ally, well, one of my troops has been wounded. Red means one of mine has been killed. And then there are pink and purple, which are your allies' troops getting wounded and killed. So that's very slightly better than what I have. And you see, this only has body armor. This has body and leg armor, so I'm gonna equip that, even though it's got a little less body armor. Ooh, a heavy axe. That's better than mine. I have the strength to wield it. Oh, and a strong hunting bow, jeez. These guys were kitted out. Oh, there's 6 of them. Wow. You know, it's not phenomenal loot, but early on in this game, it's not bad. And I got 77 dinars from selling all that I had left over. I don't really want to fight an equal number of enemies right now. I'm going to upgrade my infantry first. I'm going to have a mix. I'm going to have some archers just to soften up the enemies and give my infantry some cover. So I think it's actually early enough in the game where bandits aren't paying attention to me. They'll run away from me, but they won't hunt me down. If you're ever wondering the time of day, in the bottom right there, you can see the date, and it just turned to dusk. But I'm going to check in the arena to see where this is the tavern, not the arena. There we go. Here's the arena. To see where, and you have to introduce yourself every time, to see where some tournaments are, because I've already forgotten. So Kudan and Nara, those are both Kurgat, and Barry is Saranid. So they're both quite far away from where I am right now. Yeah. And I'm not sure I'd perform too well at those because in the Kurgat, they use a lot of throwing weapons, and my skill with throwing weapons is phenomenally awful. So I'm gonna keep fighting some bandits. Ooh, so these guys actually want to mess with me. That's because they'll reinforce each other if they're close enough. So instead of fighting 16 or 8, I'll be fighting 24.
Your money or your life.
So these guys actually attacked me. I know I clicked on them, but they also wanted to battle. So they're basically holding me up. So I have the choice to pay for passage or give them nothing but cold steel. Which sounds good to me. Though it's looking like a pretty average day, so I don't know how cold the steel will be. Oh, look at the little dorky in my black hood. I don't exactly instill fear into my enemies. Alright, forest bandits. Shooty. Well, oh boy. So you can actually, when you level up, you can get a skill to make it, not only so you're better with bows, but specifically better with bows while you're on horseback, just so you're less affected by it. As you can see those 3 white curves, that's my reticle, and that is sort of how much spread the arrow is going to get when I shoot. You can notice I'm leveling my archery up a lot. That's because my shots are considered more difficult while I'm moving on a horse. So movement, range, whether you get a headshot or not, all of that stuff will make the shot more difficult and give you more XP. So this is a little bit better. And that's a little bit worse. But there are arrows. Normally you get bent arrows which actually lose damage. So I'm gonna pick up those arrows. Actually, I mean I won't equip them. No, I might as well. They're not heavy. Actually, wow, they weigh 3 and the axe weighs 4. I guess 30 arrows is a lot. But that means I'll go into battle with 60 arrows, so not really running the risk of running out. But all my recruits can level up, so I'm gonna get... So I have 5 archers, and the rest will be infantry. And I'm not gonna level them up yet, just because it not only costs money to... It increases how much you have to pay them, because they're better troops, but you also have to pay initial costs to give them better equipment. So I don't want to do that. They're not going to run from me, but they're not going to attack me. But I am going to attack them. I said I didn't want to fight people with equal numbers. 17 and 18 are close, but I mean, they do have 1 less. So it's not totally equal. I'll just get my troops to charge. So, ow. Tree isn't doing well. So the infantry will charge, and the archers generally will stay back a bit. Alright, I have just had a footman die. Ooh, and another one. Okay, this fight is getting much bloodier than I expected. I honestly wasn't too concerned with bandits. I mean, these guys have... Oh, actually, they've got axes as well. Well, at least I will have to pay them less, because they're not alive anymore. Oh, and a sturdy black hood. That's an upgrade. But nothing... Another strong hunting bow. So, well, actually, I'm going to take a few of these. Because they will automatically sell once the battle ends, but they sell for very little. I'm probably going to be able to get quite a bit more from just taking them to a shop. And they'll still sell for less than they said back then, but it's at least more than just the battlefield sale rate. So what do I want? Leveling up again. I'm going to put another point in charisma. I want to get that to 12 initially, just so I have good leadership. And actually, I'm going to say that and then I'm going to go against it. gonna get a little bit more strength, because that'll give me an extra hit point. I'm gonna get iron flesh. That'll just give me another 2 health. So essentially got 3 health from that level up. So yeah, my throwing is atrociously bad. Yeah, I'm gonna get my throwing up, because polearms, it's low, but they're not too difficult to use. But throwing is like a bow or a crossbow. It has a reticle. That'll be very big if you're very bad with them. But I'll just see how much I can sell this stuff for. So let's put it all in. Oh, and that's my chipped axe. It sells for 9, but I don't need the thing anymore. Don't need those. Don't need those. I'm keeping a little bit, just in case I find a follower. I only made 198. But I will visit the tavern, because this is where you find heroes. Like, I just called them followers. But no, I don't see any, and this is a hired blade. You can hire, there's actually a few of them. They're very expensive, and I do not have the money for that. Now I have 800, and that's 800. That's enough to make a bet on every round in a tournament. I mean, the last one did go well. It just, my luck ran out right when I really needed it. More bandits. So instead of charging this time, I've just got my infantry in front of my archers. So let them get nice and close, and they're archers, so they'll just stand there pelting me, but now we can charge into them. Just so my archers can soften them up a bit. Because I think I don't have a medic, and I'm pretty sure, I haven't really read my skills, but I'm pretty sure I don't have a lot of medical knowledge. So, man, my aim is pretty bad. So I shouldn't be charging in head first like that with not the strongest army. Definitely not the strongest army. Oh, so this is a good upgrade. 5 more body and leg armor. But there's nothing worth taking just to sell for a little bit more. So tournaments will change cities. They're on a cycle. The tournaments will play out by themselves. I don't actually need to be in them for them to happen. And eventually they'll change rotation. So I'm gonna fight bandits, looters, and other narrow dwells, or maybe co-workers, given I'm a poacher. I'm gonna fight them for a while, and hopefully the tournament rotation will have some stuff nearby, and then I'll have some money to bet. I'll select my archers and get them to hold there, and then my infantry will hold a little bit in front and act as a shield wall. They didn't really make it close enough to fight. Oh, so this guy's actually fleeing the field. I see that sometimes. When they start getting beaten badly, they'll retreat from battle. But we can't have that happening.